Hi, folks. Welcome to the Twitter Spaces with Kalu. Essentially, we do this every Saturday, 8 p.m. We talk about money, personal finance, and of course, the economy. And the economy is a big topic today. Of course, we all know what's going on in Ukraine, in Russia, how that plays into commodities, into investing. It's a lot to take in, right? Russia is, I think, the second largest oil exporter in the world, I believe, after Saudi Arabia. Nigeria is also a big oil exporter as well. Our currency, the naira, is of course tied in quote to the Brent crude oil prices. So we're always worried about the Brent crude price and how that translates into an exchange rate here, how it affects interest rates, and of course what it does for us in terms of how we choose our investments, right? So a lot to unpack, a lot of should we say macroeconomic and investing topics I want to get through today. So I have got my team, my banker team, like from FCMB Asset Management. That's where those guys I keep my money. So I said, hey, why don't you guys come over, bring all the accountants and the economists and come over and just talk to the team about all this. It's a lot to take in, right? I know like all year, the only asset class this year, for instance, that has made a profit this entire 2022 has been crude oil and gas. Just last week, the dollar broke in as well, and it's now in profit, and also gold. So you have commodities, then you have crude oil, and just recently we just had dollar break in and become, should we say, it's now in profit, of course, because interest rates are going up as US interest rates. So that means that a dollar fixed income, dollar, all that is basically going to keep on doing a fixed income return. So that has implications if you are holding Naira, right? And if you're trying to invest in Naira. So I can see Tony here and I can see PM. So if you guys want to come off mute, I sent you guys invites to speak. If you just accept the invite, then you can come off mute and then we can say hello and then we can start. But first of all, Obianuju, how are you doing this Saturday? How was your weekend? How are you looking forward to this spaces today? Obianuju is also. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, I was like, hey. Great.
My week was good. Looking forward to a restful weekend.
Right.
The weekend is almost
nice. Good job. All right. So I've got my tree. Yeah. Hi. Thanks, Obianuju. Thanks for the welcome. I've got my three folks from FCMB. I've got Sylvia Obadima. She's the Assistant Fixed Income Fund Manager. She's going to take us through macroeconomics, right, and what's happening with the fixed income space. Of course, we've got Ifoma Onoha. She's a business development officer. And of course, we've got Tony Akinde as well. Tony owes my daughter this investment. So I wanted to come off mute so we can nail that down. So I'm waiting for you, Trey. I see you here. I've invited you in to come and speak. We want to hear you guys. Just accept the invite on mute and then you can go ahead and speak. But before you do that, I'll just lay out, like I said, just a 5 minutes talk whilst I wait for you guys to come in, right? In essence, and Obi, if you see them trying to log in, please just add them as speakers. Yeah, I'll send them the invites. So yeah. So I think I have Sylvia, and she can speak. Hi, Sylvia. How you doing?
Hi, good evening, Carly. Welcome, everyone. This evening we're looking into the impact of Russia's invasion.
Yeah.
in Ukraine, the impact on that, what it means for the Naira exchange rate and what our interest rate outlook looks like.
Exactly.
On the domestic inflation, we believe that disruptions to commodity supplies could add pressure to domestic inflation. The key thing is that Russia is a key supplier of energy to global consumers. And the situation with Ukraine has worsened an already strained market. So for the first time since 2014, we've seen Brent crude pass $100 per barrel. And on Friday, it closed at $120.65 per barrel.
$120 a barrel. Did I hear you say 120 per barrel?
Yes.
That's a lot. So that should be good for the Naira, right? If we sell more crude oil, that should be good for the Naira.
Well, it should be good for the Naira because Nigeria is a major exporter.
Yeah.
On the other hand, we are also
Ifeoma, I'm going to have you mute, Ifeoma. Sorry, I think Ifeoma, I'm going to have you mute if you don't mind. There you go. Sorry, Sylvia. I've got a noise in the background, so I want to get maybe I think it's Ifeoma or so.
Yeah, it's Ifeoma.
Okay, Okay, go ahead. I think it's. Go ahead, Sylvia.
Yes, so...
Yeah, we were talking about if oil prices have gone up, right? That should make the Naira go up as well. The value of the Naira should increase. So what's going on, really?
Anyways, that's been hampered by low oil production levels. We're going to get to that, but still on the domestic inflation, I'm going to get to the impact on exchange rates. Still on domestic inflation, where I was at where global energy prices are expected to filter into the domestic economy in the form of higher gas and petrol prices, which we are already seeing. Yes, so also Russia and Ukraine are both large exporters of wheat. So while we think that a drop in supply of wheat will substantially increase the price of wheat Nigeria now mainly import.
So in essence, agege bread is going to go up in price. That's what you're saying.
That's what it would look like. I mean, because the areas in Nigeria that are supposed to be producing wheat for us, like the northern areas, production is hampered in those areas due to insecurity. So the rise in global price of wheat will filter back into the price of bread, like you said, products like pasta, noodles, and I mean basically all wheat products, causing an increase in food prices. We'll expect these increases. I mean, energy, oil, wheat, and all these wheat products to impose an additional burden on the earnings of especially low and middle income earners. I mean, who would now begin to demand pay increases for the goods and services they offer to compensate for the lower purchasing power. So that's it on domestic inflation. And you earlier mentioned interest rates. So
yeah, but I want to stop you there, Sylvia. So I want to grab all what you said and just understand what you're telling me. So what you're telling me is that as a Nigerian, right, the price of my bread, my pasta, my semolina, all those staple foods that I eat every day is going to go up in price. That's what you're saying, number one. Number two, the price of the gas I put in my car, diesel, what I use to power my factory is also going to go up in price. I just want to make sure I'm following what you're saying. Is that correct?
Yes, you're correct.
Okay,
yes,
all right, super. So let's go to inflation. What's the story there?
So interest rate.
Oh, interest rates. Sorry about that. Yeah, go for it.
So as we have seen in the past few weeks, most global economies have started raising their interest rates, fighting elevated inflationary pressures. For Nigeria, we expect a hawkish policy bond.
What does that mean, hawkish?
We expect the central bank to raise rates.
Gotcha.
Although later in the year to support carry trade opportunities. So the idea is that as interest rates in developed markets, which are termed as safer havens, as interest rates in those markets increase, emerging economies like Nigeria will begin to see capital reversals from foreign inflows, and will then now have to pay a premium to retain these inflows. For us in Nigeria, there's an additional factor, which is the political uncertainty in the run-up to the 2023 elections. So markets are expected to price in these factors and demand a premium to compensate for the additional risk. The resultant impact in a market like the Eurobond market will be the price of instruments issued by both the sovereign and corporates to decline. I mean, as we are witnessing sell-offs as foreign investors are taking their funds elsewhere to safer havens, which are paying them higher than what they previously had. When they leave the market, the prices of those instruments would decline, right? So this presents an opportunity for the strategic investor who buys in at this higher rate and then waits for tensions in, let's say, Ukraine to de-escalate, or the political uncertainties in Nigeria to de-escalate. We saw this during the pandemic, right, when a lot of foreign investors were selling off and diversifying into safer havens like gold, and the prices of Eurobonds declined drastically, and some were even trading at around 60 cents. And we knew this was like a buying opportunity, and because once the vaccine was developed, markets were expected to return to normal, and the prices of these instruments like automatically went back to their fair values. And investors who were able to buy in at those cheaper prices took profit opportunities and eventually sold off at higher prices.
Okay, but Sylvia, let me just come in, right? And you said a lot of very, very important things at the very beginning. So what you're saying is that interest rates in the US are going to go up. This will mean that the investors that were in Nigeria before, that were buying the Euro bonds because it was paying them 8% in US dollars, will be tempted to go back to America because America is safer and American rates are going to be higher. So they wouldn't want to buy, say, a Nigerian Euro bond at 8. They can take in a US bond at, say, 3-4%. So you're saying if that happens, Nigeria has got to increase the rates that she offers to attract investors. Am I following so far?
Yes.
Okay.
That would be to support carry trade opportunities, yes, in Nigeria.
And carry trade is borrowing money from a cheaper source to then invest in a higher interest paying destination. So you're saying people borrow money in the US and bring it over here. So Nigeria has got to increase her interest rates to make that trade possible.
Yes, you're correct.
So if that happens, that means the cost of borrowing for Nigeria, or our deficit, is certainly going to go up. You've already told me that oil production is down, which means they want taking advantage of the high $120 per barrel crude oil prices right now. So just trying to follow and lay out this picture before you get into your recommendations. Great. So now I'm following. So please go ahead.
Okay. I was at where this presents a buying opportunity into these Eurobonds. Now, for Eurobonds, the minimum number of units to buy any one Eurobond is 200,000 units at the prevailing unit price.
Okay.
This is good for an investor who has both the required minimum and a specific instrument they would like to purchase. Also advise that investors can get access to these Eurobonds by investing in mutual funds such as the Legacy USD Bond Fund. For one, it is cheaper and has a minimum number of units at 1,000. And secondly, investing in the USD Bond Fund exposes the investor to a wide range of sovereign and corporate Eurobonds, carefully selected and managed by a fund manager. So
okay.
This is on the USD base.
Okay.
Were you going to say something?
Yes, I was just saying. So in essence, I don't have $200,000 to buy into the Euro bonds, but I can buy through the Legacy USD fund and get that return, i.e., that dollar return, if I invest in the bonds, more or less.
Exactly.
Great.
Okay, so for local investors invested in Naira, so even as the central bank currently maintains a lead on higher rates on the back of an increased system liquidity, we do not expect these yields to stay relatively lower beyond the second quarter of the year. So what we're saying is that we expect interest rates to increase.
Local, is that Naira interest rates or that's local Naira? Okay.
Yes, on local Naira instruments like the treasury bills and bond.
Okay.
And so we encourage investors to go short for now or invest in liquid instruments such that when these rates are repriced upwards, they can easily switch or begin to see these increases in the value of their investments. For us, right, a good recommendation would be the Legacy Money Market Fund, and the reason is that once markets begin to price in higher rates, the fund manager now then take position.
So what I hear you saying, Sylvia, is when you say go short, you're saying don't invest for long term. So if we have to invest, we sort of like take a shorter term view to the market and wait for the rates to go up. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, cool. That makes sense. Yeah.
A typical example is that if you were to buy a 1-year bill today at the primary auction, the last auction closed at 4% in the 1 year. So if you buy a 1-year bill at 4% and in the next 3 months, the rate has increased to maybe, let's say, 6% and is in line to continue to increase over the next 3 months, you wouldn't be happy because you had already locked in your funds at 4%. And being a government security, if you wanted to exit, you would have to be exiting at a loss because whoever that's buying from you will buy it at the current prevailing bid yield. So we advise them to, like I said, take short positions or invest in liquid instruments such as the Legacy Money Market Fund.
Okay.
On foreign exchange, you had initially mentioned this. The uptrend in crude oil prices, which is a major source of foreign exchange to Nigeria, should ordinarily suggest FX accretion and support the exchange rate. However, the issue of maybe shutdowns, vandalisms, and theft continues to hamper output. Again, rising oil prices also implies higher landing cost of petrol and higher subsidy payments. Right?
Subsidy. I'm here. When I hear subsidy, I get scared.
This then means that gains that would have ordinarily accrued to government revenue and built up reserves will now be lost to low production volumes and higher subsidy payments.
Okay.
Recently, central bank issued a 1.2 billion euro bond this month, and by by the data on CBN's website as of March 24th, the nation's reserve stood at $39.5 billion US dollars. So, in my view, in the short term, the central bank is able to defend the currency in the short term. However, as policy normalization in advanced countries and the pre-election political uncertainties, as I previously mentioned, from foreign inflow reversals, I think this would adversely impact the reserves.
Okay.
Therefore, we see a scope for adjustments in the currency peg to around 440 levels. But we have our eyes on the Dangote refinery, which is expected to resume operations between 3Q and 4Q. It has a good potential in conserving the country's foreign reserve.
Okay, I'm gonna get to Dangote like on a different segment, but let me just hit what you're basically painting is a very, very, should we say, bearish picture, right, for what's going to happen vis-a-vis Nigeria. Because if we're saying now that crude oil prices are up, we import PMS. We have about 39 billion US dollars, which means we cannot really defend the currency, which means the CBN does not have enough dollars to sell to BDCs. And that will then cause the CBN to quote unquote devalue, i.e., reduce that in exchange rate so it can get more naira per dollar to pay the local bills. If all that's going on, I heard you say yes, invest in the legacy USD fund so you can hold the dollar. Go short, which means don't invest for long term on naira because naira interest rates are going to go up. That's what I hear you say. And you're putting the positive spin, i.e., we will reduce the cost of imports of PMS. If Dangote refinery was open today, we wouldn't spend all that amount of money on PMS. But we still have to import rice. We still have to import cars. We still have to import all that stuff, DSTV. We're going to watch our English Premier League, right? So all that is all cash going out. So long term, if I was an investor, what should I do? I mean, in simple, what should I do? If I had $1 million naira, like, where should I put that money in the next 24 months?
If you were an investor who has naira, so I would advise that you convert some of that naira to a foreign currency like the USD, and invest in a USD denominated product, right? Like, maybe depending on how much volume you have, you can invest in the legacy USD bond fund with as little as around $1,250, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this would also mitigate fears of any weakening of the naira and also ensure policy portfolio currency diversification. So
I put the whole 1 million in dollar, or
depending on, definitely you have naira need. You still have to take.
No, like this is like my investment. This is not my consumption. This is just I have $1 million naira. It's in the bank. It's my pension money. I'm keeping it there. I earn fixed deposit interest. So, but what I hear you say is that the fixed rate deposit in Nigeria, the rate is going to go up, which is good for me. But then we're also hearing there's going to be a larger deficit, which is going to cause the government to borrow more, and it's going to may cause them to devalue. So my naira, even though I'm earning 15% or whatever I'm earning, is going to devalue. So I should go into dollars. So should I do 50% in that legacy USD fund? Should I do 70% and put the other in the money market fund? What would you recommend for? Maybe I'm 50 years old and I've got $1 million in the bank. I want to invest it in the next 24 months vis-a-vis US rates, Nigerian rates. What would be a great asset allocation for me?
Well, like you said, for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because when we're advising on
for me,
allocation, consider a lot of things. So, just on the basic, I would advise 60% in foreign currency and 40% in naira, because we'd also factor in that 40% in naira would be able to when rates increase, you'll be able to yield you like a good amount of interest. But you can have the 60 cents in the USD product just to, like we said, mitigate any fears of the weakening of the naira.
Gotcha.
And also depends on if you have maybe if you have kids abroad, or you have school fees to pay abroad, or you have travel plans. So it all depends on what your specific situation is. Yes.
Okay. So I mean, this is interesting. So next 24 months, and we've not counted in the elections. They're going to spend a lot of naira. They're going to print a lot of naira during the elections, and we're going to see money flowing around. So all these factors just point to the fact that holding naira, this is my view now, holding naira is more dangerous than even inflation per se, because it's just going to be an asset class, i.e. currency, that is going to have so many negatives coming at it from all the sides. You've got inflation, you've got extra spending, then you've got interest rates in America going up. So should I even hold any currency? I mean, I hear you say the legacy money market fund. Should I just go buy palm oil and keep and then sell it again after 3 months? Is that going to be a better deal for me, or should I actually go into currency, i.e. dollar and naira? Should I buy gold?
Like I said, it all depends on your situation. So if you do not have any naira need, do you understand? If you do not have any naira need and you're very comfortable with putting 100% of your funds in USD, I mean, that's okay. But for someone who lives in Nigeria and has salaries to pay here, has to maintain livelihood here, they will definitely need naira, and they will need to have a certain amount of their funds, a certain percentage of their funds allocated to naira denominated product. So that's why we have legacy recipe fund there for people who are comfortable with investing in naira.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So the final point we have is the impact on the Nigerian stock market, right?
Yep.
And we just looked at a few sectors. We looked at the consumer sector, and we saw that with an increase in wheat prices, I mean, companies in the food producing industry may begin to contend with one another about limited commodity prices. And this may not be successfully passed on to the end consumers. I mean, there's only so much that they can take. If Nigerians see that the price of maybe bread is going too high, or maybe the price of pasta or whatever is going too high, then I mean, they can always switch to other alternatives, right? So that would be negative for the consumer sector. For banks, with oil prices at above $100 per barrel, I mean, many of these oil and gas companies, those loans were restructured at the peak of the pandemic. Will be in good profit. So we think this will be good for them, but we also cite production as a major constraint for these companies.
Yeah, and that's really what worries me, that Nigeria imports a lot of wheat from Ukraine and Russia. And the average Nigerian's budget is about 67% spent on food. One of the highest in the world, 67%. So if the cost of the staple like agege bread, people eat agege bread and beans, or people eat pasta or semolina, if that's going to go up, that's going to really affect consumption and your ability to spend and consume. And this is an expense you cannot say you're not going to eat food, right? You got to eat. So I'm even worried that the Nigerian might find himself by say Q3 of 2022 with a shrinkage of the paycheck. So your paycheck might be the same. You've got inflation, but then there's just no bread. There's just no wheat or semolina. Where do you replace it? If we try to buy it from Russia, are we going to get sanctioned? So this worries me a lot, i.e. the food prices, not just in Nigeria, in Africa. Is this going to cause like upheaval? It's a big problem. Like if I can't eat, can I really start to talk about investing? It's going to be a big problem for me, right? So what happens to my emergency fund? I like the money market fund with legacy because it allows me to do that. I can save from my paycheck every month, it compounds for me and I can get it when I want it. But I'm just worried about the effect of all this on Nigerians, right? That's just my take. Can you hear me?
Yes, I lost you for a while, but I can hear you now.
So I'm just talking about the effect on consumption, really. The effect on consumption. What will happen essentially if that increase in the price of food, staple food in Nigeria goes up? Can the Nigerian consumer really afford for 67% of its budget to go up? That's what I'm just thinking. What do you have any view on that?
So like I said, there will only be so much that they can take, right? I think what will happen is that the average Nigerian will build these increases into whatever goods and services they offer, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, there's just going to keep the spillover is going to keep building up. So if I ask my employer for a higher raise, I feel like my employer would probably also increase the cost of its services to the client.
Yeah.
So if I were to even come down to maybe the average woman that sells in the market, right, is going to have to increase the price of whatever she sells, because not only is she getting these items at higher prices in the market, but her own cost of living has also significantly increased. So it's just going to be a spillover, and that's where we see higher inflation coming in.
Okay.
Yes, so
I want to get Ifeoma in here, right? I want to ask you for Ifeoma. I see you're back. Thanks. If you're okay to speak, I want to ask you a question about what I'm just talking about with Sylvia, right? Ifeoma, are you there? Can you speak?
Yes, I can speak.
There you go. Welcome to the party, Ifeoma, right? So I mean, I've been talking to Sylvia. She's been painting this very, I think she's an economist, and economists are very, very, sad people and all that kind of stuff. So, so I'm just kidding, Sylvia. But she's painting this picture that is, I'm looking for light in this scenario she has painted, right? I'm looking for light in the scenario she has painted. She's saying it's going to be inflation, and rightly so. She has highlighted why there will be inflation. She said oil prices are going to go up. So crude oil, bread prices are going to go up, right? There's going to be interest rates abroad are going to go up, which means that people would like to invest abroad in dollar and not in naira in Nigeria. Is there any silver lining for a Nigerian investor? I mean, if I was a guy like this 1 million naira guy, what could I do? What will make me happy? Can you make me happy in terms of a financial product or a strategy I could use to get above all this inflation and risk that we're talking about?
Well, there's always a way around everything.
Yeah.
So for just to get around what is happening currently in the country and just trying to stay above water, what we usually advise clients to do as much as they can is, diversify your investment.
I like that.
Even if you're not ready to maybe take on the USD investments, or you have most of your needs and obligations in naira, there are options that you can look into. Maybe diversify your investment into short, mid, and long term. Look at it that way based on the needs that you have. So you can look at maybe equity managed funds for the long term. Those ones are managed by looking at the all share index for the exchange, and those are the benchmark for that particular kind of mutual fund. So you can look into that for maybe a long term, and towards the short term, just like you earlier mentioned, for building emergency fund. Yes, the rate is actually doing slightly lower than, not slightly lower, but doing lower than what our current inflationary rate is. But you can still use it. It's far more better than other kinds of investments and schemes that are around that people aren't so sure. At least in this, you're very certain that you're having a return on investment daily. So you can look into the money market fund as a short to mid-term investment, or also use it to build up an emergency fund just in case you want to, pay rent, or just take off some bills of your needs. You can use that as a short to mid-term kind of investment. Then on the longer end, you can look into FGM bonds, look into equity managed mutual funds. If you're someone that that speaks to your risk profile, is something that you can also look into.
Oh, so I like that. So I'm hearing you say diversify. I'm hearing you say equity. I'm hearing you say try to do money market to get at least that daily income. Is it so daily compounding on the funds? I like what I'm hearing, right? I want to talk more about equities, right? 2020, the Nigerian stock market was the best performing stock market in the entire world. 2020. I think that was driven by Dangote Cement, more or less, but we were the top in the world. 2021, not so much. We didn't do that much. But as a rule, I think stock investing in equities do tend to outperform inflation. Do you think that's going to be a thing in 2022, that as inflation goes through the roof, like Sylvia has mentioned, that I could say invest in equities and that could give me some relief from this fixed income, high interest rates and inflation? Is that going to be a thing? And if that's going to be a thing, how can I do it with you guys? I think if I'm dropped, if I'm still there?
Yes, sorry, my network went off. But I heard you. So we're still rounding off first quarter in 2022. Inflation is above 15%. The stock exchange really performed well last year. So we are the trend. We're just hoping that it also does well this year. But just like you earlier mentioned, equities always in the longer run outperforms money market instruments. We've seen that happen over and over again. So it's something to hold on to. It's something you can put in a chunk of your income or a chunk of your investment portfolio into. We're always about spreading your risk, spreading your investment. Is better off that way. So for now, we are hoping, as we move into the second quarter, that we'll still see, upward trends in that market.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, I'm bullish. I buy a lot of Nigerian equity, especially the banks. I like to buy them because they pay dividends. I like dividends in Naira. So I'm just hopeful that I can also transit as well and put some money there and diversify. So if I'm that million Naira guy, Sylvia already said do a lot of USD and then do the short end money market with the rest. So you're thinking I should also extend that portfolio into equities as well?
For now, the USD and the money market, USD are for people who have the needs, mid to long term, it also works. But for a short term, like I said, with equities also, you have to understand the volatility in the market. You also have to understand the risk aspect of investing in equities. So once you understand all that and you feel like it's something you can take on, definitely you can, still invest in that. But otherwise, the money market is a predominantly safe haven for entry or people who are new to the investment stage. It's something that you can start with. The minimum investable amount is pretty low. With as low as 10,000, you can start off and build up on it. So it's something.
10 grand, not bad.
Yes, it's not bad at all that anyone could start with. But if equities is your thing, and you are looking at, like I said, long term, you can also consider it.
All right, so I think Tony is back, right? I was going to ask Tony about how I can do this, right? So okay, I have my 10 grand or I think last space we had, we agreed that with 500,000 Naira, I could get into a USD investment. So Tony, I see you're still a listener. I sent you an invite to speak. If you come offline, I want to ask you really how I can invest. So Sylvia has given me the macro. Tony has given me this is what you want to do to basically avoid the macro risks that Sylvia has talked to us about. But I want to now go into the nuts and bolts. How do I do this? Like, if I want to invest, like.
Good evening, everyone. I'm so sorry. I've been having some technical challenges this evening.
Welcome, though. We're glad you're here and we're happy to have you. So I don't know if you heard the question where I was going to, right? I'm just saying, how do I then do this, right? If I want to invest in, say, the legacy USD fund or the money market fund, how? What are the steps? Do I have to open an account? Do I have to be a Nigerian? Do I have to be in Nigeria? How does it work? Can I go to any branch of FCMB? Could you just walk me through it?
Okay, sure. This is for both the money market fund and the legacy USD bond fund, right?
Gotcha. Yes, correct.
Okay, wonderful. So the legacy money market fund is easily our most affordable fund and it's the easiest fund to invest in with as little as 1,000 Naira. You can invest and get your investment journey going. You do not need to have an FCMB bank account because you will just be transferring your investment funds into the legacy money market fund account, which is actually domiciled in the Standard Chartered Bank. So you can transfer from any bank that you currently bank with. You can do an online transfer from the bank with the Standard Chartered Bank account. And, you do need to complete the form. The form is easily accessible via our portal. We have a link that can take you to the form.
What's the link? Is it the www.myfcmbam.com? That's FCMB with an AM, asset management. That's what I'm seeing here. I can share that if you want.
Yes, you can share that, please.
Super.
It's very easy to get on the landing page or on the portal. The portal is at portal.fcmbam, but the other link will also get you there.
Okay.
And while you're on there, you can just attach your passport photograph, attach a copy of a current utility bill. It has to be valid in the last 3 months, and the address on there has to match the address that you'll be putting on your form.
Okay.
As well as a copy of government-issued ID. So it can be your driver's license, it can be the data page of your international passport.
So I can do this.
Card and you're good to go.
If I live abroad, I'm Nigerian, I can use US KYC, or it has to be Nigerian?
That is correct.
Okay. I can.
Yes.
Just have to find me. Okay. And the minimum for the money market is 10 grand. No, 1,000. You said 1,000.
1,000 Naira.
Okay.
1,000 Naira is the minimum. Yes.
And for the USD fund, I think it was 1,200.
The USD fund. Yes, the USD fund is 1,000 units. So there can be a little bit of confusion there. 1,000 units at the daily price.
Okay.
So it's not $1,000. No, it's 1,000 units.
Okay.
Yes.
So if it was for, say, this week, 1,000 units would cost me about $1,200 or so. How much would that be?
Yes, about 1,254. So let's just round it up and just say 1,300.
Do you have an idea? Could you give me, I know you can't give me for the future, but say past quarter, do you have an idea of the returns on this? So if I invested in January or whenever, can you give me an indicative annual percentage yield I would have made on this dollar and maybe the money market?
If you invested in January?
Pick a time period. Just want to have an idea of what I would have made. I don't want to ask you what I will make, but what would I have made if I say invested, say Q4 2021 or so? What would I have made in 3 months or a year? You can pick a time frame.
Okay. So let me use the return for the year ended December 2021. Now, if you had begun your investment journey at the beginning of the year and you invested all through the year, the fund returned an average of about 6.22% last year. Now, one very important thing to note is that the return on the fund is not a fixed return. It's not a guaranteed return, but if you had invested last year, that would have been the return you would have earned. If you had invested from January to December, you would have earned about 6.22%. That was for last year. Now, the fund is, like I mentioned again, it's not a fixed return fund, so you can't really get into it and say, okay, this month I'm going to make this month I'm going to make that, because it's an open-ended fund. So investments keep coming into the fund, and people also take money out of the fund at any time, so those things affect the performance of the fund, But it's a great fund to invest in. It's good to diversify your investment portfolio. It helps you to hedge and a lot of uncertainties. My colleague Sylvia had mentioned, about making sure, because of the devaluation and, exchange rate issues that we're having in Nigeria, it's always advisable to have a portion of your investment portfolio in US dollars. So it's a good way to hedge, and it's affordable. If you want to invest in Eurobonds directly, you do need a lot of dollars. So this is a good entry point for people who don't want to invest that much or who may not have it, Everybody's not like you, Carlo. I remember you were saving for your daughter's education.
We're going to talk about that too, yeah. I'm doing this because I want to afford to save for Harvard. So you see, this is why I'm, trying to talk to you guys. So you guys will like and don't maybe give her scholarship or something like that to Harvard. So I'm putting it in prayers, Tony, but we'll see. Sylvia has spoiled it a bit, telling us about interest rates and all that, but we are hopeful. There's a guy here on my timeline, Tony. He's saying he invested with you guys last week. I don't know call his name, but he invested through Brenda. He did a lot of USD with you guys.
Okay.
And he said the experience was pleasant. So just letting you know, and he thanks you for bringing the awareness of the FCMB Legacy USD Fund. He did not know, I guess, that it was a thing, but you guys came and knew it was a thing, and he has invested. And I think it's hearing you say how much he would have made, and whatever he would have made, right, in Naira, because I can just talk freely. To hold Naira, to me, I think is a big risk. I like the money market fund because, like Tony and Sylvia said, short term. If I want to do short term investing or I want to save, definitely that money market. But the Naira scares me. But all I'm hearing with the deficit funding, with the PMS, about 2.5 trillion that we're going to spend as subsidy, just a lot of pressure is going to be on the currency. So this is a great outlet for folks to just basically put money in. I got a guy here, I don't know if he's from India. I can't read his name. 2.0. Thanks for waiting on the line, sir. Did you have a word?
Hi everybody, hello. I'm from India.
How you doing?
I just listened you guys are very productive and
Oh, great. So you're calling in from India, right?
Right.
Yeah. Tony, can Indians invest? Can non-Nigerians invest?
As foreign investment is contributing more substantially to our economic prosperity policy designed to foster, protect and fully benefit from it require greater focus. This includes improvements to the investment climate that will attract greater flow, stronger intellectual property right protection, and better investor after care and dispute prevention, a rapidly changing global investment landscape,
Okay.
and new opportunity as well as challenges. You guys are continue, please.
Sure. Thank you. I appreciate you calling in. Yeah, Tony, I was asking you, right? Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Tony, can a non-Nigerian invest in this product? If I was, say, from Trinidad and Tobago, can I invest if I had my KYC, or is there any restriction?
At this point, You know, as long as they can, complete the forms, send the KYC, and put the funds in. There's currently no restrictions,
Gotcha.
but I will, just double check with the SEC and just make sure. Some places have particular tax requirements.
Yes.
Places like the US, so we'll just double check and get back to him for sure.
Super. And then on the DM, someone is asking at what rate will FCMB convert? I think last week you said you prefer to get the US dollar itself, so there's no conversion. Yeah. So just on ENA, I think they would prefer to get the USD, so that there's no conversion rate per se. If you invest with USD, then you're basically getting the USD return as well. So thanks for the question. I'm just going to read up a few DMs. Ifoma can help you. Maybe someone is asking that Ifoma, someone is saying that as a saying this question for Ifoma, as a younger person, right? Is it preferable I invest in Nigerian stocks or I buy dollars and get 6%? What would you advise a younger person who's just starting work? Should he buy Nigerian shares and take that chance that he's spending for longer term, or should he just buy dollars, put the money in fixed income, get his 6 or 4% and forget about it? He's asking a question. Hi, Ifoma. Okay, so I'm just going to move on real quick. Okay, Sylvia, I'm not forgetting about you. I don't know if I can bring you back on, if you're still online. I want to ask you a question again about the macroeconomics of it. Sylvia, are you there? Hi, Sylvia, can you guys hear me?
Hi, we can hear you.
Super. Just checking. Thanks, guys. Okay, so Sylvia, in terms of the macroeconomics of it, right? We saw the Dangote fertilizer launch, right? And the guy said, the ED says the plant has a 3 million tons of urea capacity. He says local consumption is about 1 million, right? 1 million. So we have about 2 million gap that we can export. My question as an economist, I'm asking you like the expert, right? Why do prices just keep on going higher, even if we're able to meet the demand? And this is not just for fertilizer. Same thing for cement. Same thing for gas. We do a lot of gas in Nigeria, LNG. We export a lot of it. We export a lot of cement. We're now going to export a lot of urea. But why doesn't the price really crash? Because we have met supply. Are we exporting too much? Should we focus more on local consumption? Like the CBN governor has said, the CBN governor told BUA that they should focus on reducing the price. So I'm not putting the spot. This is the CBN governor saying it already. Would that help the economy if we focus more on local consumption and forgo the foreign exchange reserves? Or should we focus more on the exports and get the foreign exchange reserves and then, of course, have those higher prices? What do you think is a better strategy for Nigeria in terms of bringing down the local cost of goods and services?
Hi, Carlo. I think it should be a combination of both. I mean, if we're able to take up domestic consumption and fill it up, that would mean that we're saving ourselves from foreign reserves that would ordinarily have to have gone to other countries if we were to import those goods. And on the other hand, for us to export, that means that we're gaining ourselves some FX reserves. So I think that you don't focus on one and leave the other. And it has to be the both of them. If they have the capacity to produce for both local and
foreign
external consumption, then I think that that would be good. And like you said, why do prices keep going on?
Yes.
So with what's happening right now, I mean, one would expect prices to go. I mean, because of the limited supply supply chain constraints that we're currently experiencing, but that's not going to go on forever. We're expecting these tensions in Ukraine to somehow someday de-escalate. So if that happens, I think that's when we'll begin to see the real impact of this new development.
But let me follow through this question, right? This is the point again. You make the point for me that for fertilizer, for instance, the natural gas, nitrogen, and water. They're all in Nigeria, right? Maybe nitrogen is imported, but it's 85% natural gas. For cement as well, yeah, we might import a few things, but it's really also in Nigeria. And we are exporting. I'm just really looking at it big macro and saying, if the Nigerian consumer is going to have that squeeze you talked about, prices are going to go up, right? And we have this product. Should we not focus on the local economy, get the prices down, get inflation down? Then once we've done that, we can export. And how would we know we've met demand in Nigeria is when prices come down. I hear you saying do both. I'm just saying as a strategy, should we not try to keep local costs down because Nigerian consumer has seen no wage increase in the last, say, maybe 4 or 5 years, and then inflation has kept on going up and up? That's just, if you could, I'm just coming back on you on that.
That's a factor, but then you would recall that these plants are being powered by gas, which is imported, right?
Okay.
So it all boils down to the cost of production.
Gotcha.
If the cost of production is high, then
okay.
Yeah. So
I hear you. All right.
That's one way to look at
I
it.
okay, I'll leave it. I'll take that. Tony, just a question for you as well, right? So, gentleman OSB is asking, will you accept, is it a cash deposit for dollars or is it a transfer of dollars to invest in the USD fund? So that's basically what he's asking. Should they have to come to the bank and do a transfer, or would you just accept a cash deposit, more or less?
We will not accept a cash deposit. The CBN policy forbids that at this point. So it has to be a transfer from his DOM account or, from his DOM account.
Okay. So good clarification. So no cash deposits. You have to do a transfer from your DOM account. So OCB, I'm sure you've heard that. And someone just asked now, although you had answered that, maybe I guess it wasn't here. He had asked, is a Nigerian in the United Kingdom, and he wants to take advantage of this opportunity, but his bank account is dormant. Can he go ahead and do it? So I already answered and sent him the link and says, yes, you don't have to have an account per se in FCMB. You can use the app, send in your KYC, and FCMB will be able to take care of you. The gentleman that said invested through Brenda said his investments are already appreciating in value, i.e. the USD investment that he did is already appreciating in value. So a good shout out there for you guys in FCMB. But Informa, let me ask you a question, Informa. Adeyemi is asking, is there a product for corporate investors? All this, the money market, the USD fund, the equity fund, are they all individual, or can a corporate or a trustee invest? Is that also possible for a corporate or trustee guy to invest as well?
Yes, all our products are open to individual and corporate investors. So this is irrespective of whichever product it is. So it's open to everyone.
Is there any advantage if I invest in my corporate name?
Well, maybe for documentation purposes, maybe when you're applying for something, there's no particular, incentive as for investing. It's just the name.
Okay.
But maybe when you're applying for something outside of the country or you need it for documentation purposes, if you invest in as an individual investor, a statement or any letters you're sending out going to be in that name, your investment corporate is also going to come in that name. So there's no other incentive.
So I mean, if you want to get like a certificate of capital importation, things like that for taxes, it's always good to link all the names, do your paperwork correct. Okay, good point. So again, Tony, back to you, Tony, right? Omo is asking, since we can't do cash, is there going to be a limit or restriction on interbank transfer? I.e., can he transfer from bank A to FCMB, or the funds have got to be in the DOM account of FCMB? That's what he's asking. Since there's no cash transfer, can he do a transfer from bank A to FCMB? Maybe you can talk about the Standard Chartered again, just so we get that cleared out for him.
Sure. Different banks have different rules and requirements regarding transfers. So you would have to speak with your bank to see if there's a limit. But you can do a transfer from your account to the Standard Chartered Bank account, in favor of yourself for your investment. It has to be a transfer, no cash deposits, but you can do a transfer from your account. And if it so happens, that you may have accounts in different banks, and maybe you want to move from different banks to the investment account, you just have to check with your bank and check their FX transfer policy.
Yeah.
But they're really, it's individual to different banks.
Yeah, Tony, lots of questions on this. Lots of questions on this transfer. I mean, someone is asking, but I just read it out for you. Are transfers allowed between DOM accounts of Nigerian banks? That's what you're answering. Someone else is asking, there's a preference for cash in USD. Is the requirement for it has to be USD, or can it be Great British pounds or euros, all that kind of stuff? So you might just add that onto your answer. Does it have to be USD, or can he transfer, say, euros? And how does that work? Can he do euros to buy Eurobond? Okay, it has to be USD.
It has to be USD. Yes.
Okay, so Terben, it has to be USD. Then, okay, he's asking a question. I think it's going to be for Sylvia. With respect to equities, do Nigerian equities also typically outperform currency devaluation? Interesting question. I'll take a crack at it, right? If Nigerian equities, like I said, long term, as other equities in other domiciliations, right, do tend to beat inflation over the long term. Last year, 2021, Nigerian equities beat inflation. 2020, like I told you, Nigerian equities were the best performing asset class in the entire world, i.e. equities. For Nigerian equities, the stock market index was the best performing index in the entire world just for 2020. Like I said, it was because of Dangote cement. So if you are talking about devaluation, if the currency is devalued, what happens to the local goods and services in the economy? Their price tends to go up, right? Because then if I'm importing and I get a devaluation, I have to spend more naira to get that dollar. So because my price goes up, I have to then sell at a higher selling price. So what you see is that if I can pass those costs along to the buyer, I do better. So the answer is going to be industry by industry. If I'm selling a staple that everyone has got to buy, if I'm selling PMS, or I'm selling Semovita, or I'm selling rice, I can easily pass it along because Nigerians will always buy that. But if it's a luxury or something that has a substitute, it's harder to pass that devaluation along. So what happens is that sales fall. That's why you see a lot of Nigerian products are sachets. They reduce the quantity so you can buy it with your reduced purchasing power, but you really can't buy 50 kg rice, but you can buy 10 kg rice at a higher price. That's my take. Sylvia, do you want to shoot on this? He's asking, do Nigerian equities outperform the currency devaluation? So if the currency Naira is devalued, do you think shares will still outperform, Sylvia? What's your take on that? Hi, Sylvia. Did you hear me?
Hi, Carlo. Yeah, I'm with you.
Super. Great.
My opinion is that really.
I like how you said opinion. I like that.
Nothing beats devaluation, honestly. So I mean, if I was buying a stock at 8 naira today and the currency devalues and what the 8 naira would have ordinarily bought for me, maybe like last month, it would now be maybe like at around 13 naira today. So what I'm saying is that it might rip off, even if the stock was to perform well, right, and we see an appreciation in the price of that same stock. The devaluation might rip off whatever gains that we see in its stock.
So devaluation is really the killer. It's more or less a blanket, wet blanket on that economy, more or less.
Exactly.
Super.
But compared with other like Naira in asset classes,
yeah.
I mean, when in terms of which would be my number one pick for an investor that has a medium to long-term view on their investment.
Yeah.
I would say the equities, yes.
Long-term view and all that, equities is going to be the way to go. Excellent. All right, guys, just a recap of the room, right? So I have Obiano Jucius out there. You can ask a question either to request to speak, or you can request to speak as well through Obiano Juice. She'll put you on, or you can send me a DM like most of you have been doing, and I'll ask your question to the panel that we have. As you see, we brought in someone talking about the macro side. We brought Tony talking about the product side. We also have a former as well. So we have a full cast here. So do ask your questions. Take the opportunity. Yeah, even if it's an economic question, they are here to take your questions and to answer them. And yeah, grab the opportunity to write DMs or request to speak either to myself or to Obiageli. She's on there as a speaker, and she'll put you on and all that. So if you have a speaker or question, just kindly just step in and request to talk. So I have a question again. Is the legacy fund, Tony, I think this is for you. Is the legacy fund just like normal mutual funds where they present you with multiple funds that are managed by fund managers? Yes, I think the answer is yes. Can you have 10K? Yeah, so Tierben, you're very correct. The legacy has got about 4 different kinds of funds. I'm going to send you an infographic now. There are about 4 funds. There's a money market fund. There is a debt fund. So the money market fund is more short-term, right? They're buying like treasury bills. It's more targeted at short-term money market, less than 1 year investment. Then they have the debt fund, which is of course buying longer dated instruments like federal government bonds, right? Then they have the USD debt fund, which is now investing in US dollar denominated debt more than a year. So they've got those 3 fixed income products. Then they have the equity fund, where you can then invest in equities through a unit trust / mutual fund. So 4 of them, 1 short term, 2 long term, but 1 long term is dollar. Then the last one is equities. That's basically how it is. Splitting up your funds, I think it has to be based off your objective, really, what you want to achieve. Tony, he's asking if he's got like $10,000, how can he split it? I don't know if you want to take a crack at that. Just to say, hey, if he has $10,000, I don't know how old he is, but he looks kind of young. Yeah, he doesn't live in Nigeria though. Do you want to take a crack at maybe how he could split $10,000 across these 4 funds, and maybe he would pick something from there?
So he wants to. Is he someone in the diaspora and wants to?
Someone in diaspora.
In 4 mutual funds.
Yes, he's basically was asking if your fund was the same, as he has seen that they have one company with different funds. I've answered yes. It's one, like it's FCMB has got the 4 legacy funds. So if he has $10,000, for instance, can he split it between 2 or 3 funds? So I'm just trying to give, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. It's just that there's just the one that is, dollar denominated. So if he would want to change some of his USD to Naira, it would be something he could do, but we would have to have a one-on-one conversation with him. And like you mentioned, we would need to check out his investment objectives, check out his risk profile, really do an assessment, on the objectives, what exactly he wants to achieve. He's investing short term, if he's investing long term, and then we'll advise based on that. But definitely something he can do.
Yeah. I've sent him a link, and I'm pretty sure he will get in touch with you guys. So he's got a link there. Tara, I've sent you the link. and then you can take it over from there, right? So, this is let me read this before I ask you, Tony. Let me just read this. If I invest at the cost of this, okay. So he's asking a question about forex, more or less. I think his question is more. This is from Mpa Toby. He said if he buys US dollars at 580, so he buys today and invests at 580, and he says, so this actually for PM for Sylvia. He's saying if the naira strengthens in value, it's going to make a loss. So he's basically asking, is there a way to mitigate against the naira strengthening in value? This is a very, very optimistic guy, right? So he's saying the naira is going to strengthen, or if the naira strengthens in value and he makes a loss, is there a way he can hedge against that contrary view that the naira would actually strengthen in value? I don't think it will, with all what we're seeing with crude oil imports, with food imports, with what's happening in Russia. I think Sylvia has given us a step-by-step blow of what's going to happen. So I don't think it will, but Sylvia, if you want to answer him why you think this will not happen, or if there are any mitigants against the naira reversing, it could be a black swan event. Naira could be 1-to-1 tomorrow, and So I don't know if you want to take a crack at that as well. Hi, Sylvia, do you hear? Okay, I've got a guy. So I've got the blueprint. Once you can request to speak. I have added you. Thanks for waiting. Yeah. Yes.
So can I take a stab and answer?
Yes.
The question for
the guy that asked about the devaluation?
Yes.
I would love you to, please.
Yes. What I would say to you or to him is that if you change your naira at 580 and you are holding dollars, what I would ask you to do is just not change back to naira suddenly. You know what I mean? Your dollar value is still your dollar value. So he should hold on to his USD and just continue to invest. So what he can do now is reduce his weighted cost. If he changes at 580 and then the naira strengthens, he should change more and invest more. You know what I mean? And that way he reduces the cost of his naira, and he should also understand that what he's doing is he's hedging, he's diversifying his portfolio, and this is a different, for a lack of a better word, investment stream or income stream. So he's going to have that still denominated in dollars, and that remains that way. The whole idea of the investment is not necessarily for you to be changing back and forth. This is just a portion of it, you know what I mean, that it stays in dollar, and he earns interest in USD. So if the naira strengthens, go ahead and increase your dollar position. And it just helps you exactly.
So you can buy more, like it's you can buy more than
buy more dollars with less naira.
So it's like you build that hedge. Okay, I think that's a good one. Yeah, I like that. That's a good one. And Tony, this guy is just, someone's telling me he invested in FCMB USD fund. When he bought, the unit price was 1.2176. Now it has appreciated to 1.2183. This is Olaro Team. I'm not going to say his last name because he told me to. So he's saying it has appreciated in price, and he bought it, I believe, a week ago. And he's also sharing a hack. He's saying a hack that you can use to invest is to basically, if you have a Standard Chartered US dollar account, that's a very, very easy way to invest in the FCMB. That's what he did actually, because he has a Standard Chartered account and he put his money in there. And because FCMB uses Standard Chartered, it was easy for him to do that investment with that. So he's saying that's just a hack. In case people want to invest and they have a Standard Chartered account, you can do that as well. So it looks like you guys did pretty good, yeah? All I have to do is to invest for Ola, and then we can go to Harvard. That's basically it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan.
That sounds like a plan. So someone's asking you guys, what advantage does FCMB really have over the apps? Like, there are Nigerian apps that offer you, hey, invest in this and we pay you this. Is there any specific advantage that a bank has or a bank product has over those apps? That's what basically I think this is from Ta Ubo. And anyone can answer really.
Okay, let me come in here. The advantage that SCMB has is, the fact that SCMB is not a new name in the Nigerian banking industry. It's not a new name to investors. So you have that long-standing history of the organization, the bank, and its subsidiaries. You can trace back many years, look at financial statements, look at performances over the years, and, there's a long-standing history that you can draw back on, as well as a brick and mortar structure. You can go to all the states in the country at the moment. You would find an SCMB branch that you can walk into, and speak with people that work with the bank. With some of these apps and these companies, they don't have a long-standing credit history and financial history. So you just have to really do your research and make sure you go with a brand that you trust.
Gotcha.
And a brand that you know. Yes. So what we have going for us, is definitely our history, our investment products, our banking services, there's a lot you can look into, you know what I mean? There's a lot that investors have that gives them comfort, that gives them stability, versus some of these other new companies. So, that is the advantage, that SCMB has. And, it's an indigenous bank, you know what I mean?
I mean, that's a point that we don't make, we don't say a lot about, talking about the brand integrity, right? I am not sure about this data point, but I think FCMB is the oldest indigenous bank in Nigeria. I think, I think that data point is correct. So it's been here forever and set up by a Nigerian. I think when he set that bank up, the bank in Nigeria was owned by foreigners. So you had Standard Bank, you had Merrill Lynch, they were all in Nigeria, and then there was this young Nigerian bank trying to make headway with foreigners, and sort of like he's made it. It's now an institution. So that's something I think even FCMB does not say enough about that history, that legacy of where, maybe that's where the name legacy came from, where they've come from, and basically where they've, it's a it's something we should be proud of. It's Nigerian and it's been there. It's stayed while others have left, and I think that's some brownie points right there, if I may say so myself, right? So the blueprint. Thanks for waiting. If you are online, you can unmute, sir, and I'm going to just have you ask your question. So blueprint, please go ahead.
Good evening, everyone.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm fine. I just wanted to give an opinion regarding the guy that was talking about his 10K USD. Are you with me?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Okay, so there are a couple of things you can do with his 10K USD. Right? I understand that this platform is focused on the global economy, like talking about stocks, bond, and all. Well, there is the crypto market, and it's understandable that the crypto market is almost similar to the forex market.
Yeah, but what they're talking about is more like investing, more like legacy fundamental type investing. And you understand that because they're a bank, they would have issues with cryptocurrency. So I do crypto, right? But FCMB is a bank, and they have certain policy guidelines from the regulator that would stop them from doing crypto, right?
He has that USD just in FCMB.
I mean, you can't do crypto, quote unquote, through a Nigerian bank, right? You know about the policy. So that's why we're not talking about that asset class. I hear you. Perfect investment I own it. Unfortunately, we can't do it through Nigerian banks. So yeah, I don't want to put the guys and we're talking crypto on with bankers, put them in trouble and all that kind of stuff. You understand what I mean? Every other platform, you can come in and talk crypto. I'm your guy. Do you have anything else? Are you thinking about investing in the FCMB? Which product do you think strikes your fancy? Money market short term, debt long term, USD long term?
No, I haven't looked into any of those yet. I haven't looked into any of those.
Yeah, I think you should. Yeah, take a peek at it and let me know what you think. Yeah, send me a DM. Go try them out. Go to a branch. Ask them if they can open an account for you. See what happens. Send me a DM. I'll send to them, and we can document your experience and all that. I would love you to do that. See if it compares with where you invest and if the returns beat that. Yeah, do something small and see.
I'll send it to you.
Super. I appreciate you calling, sir. Thank you so much. All right. Yeah. So I have on the speaker and I'm just going to ask. Oh, I got tons of messages again. All right. So Tony, I don't know who's going to take this one. This gentleman is asking in terms of stock. So if he buys the stock, this is the unit he's asking, just to be clear. I think maybe Ifeoma can take this. He's talking about this is a unit trust. Like, is he buying the index fund or is he just buying, he's not buying the stocks in his individual name, or he's buying the stock in the name of the unit trust? Just want to be clear about the fund. I think the answer is you're buying the funds, his shares in the name of the fund, not in your individual name. But I think if he wants to buy individual stocks in his name, is that something asset management for FCMB does? Can he come to you guys and just buy stocks directly? Or does he have to buy the fund? Is there a limit to that and all that?
Okay, I'll take that. The legacy equity fund is you're buying in the name of unit trust if you're going to be investing that way. It is an equity-based mutual fund, so everything that we're investing, majority of them, equity. But if he wants to buy, stocks on his own, one of our subsidiaries also does that. So he can still reach out if that's what we can take a one-on-one him and refer him to our stockbroker.
Oh, super. What's the name of the stockbroker?
CSL stockbroker.
CSL. All right. So if he was trying to do something individual, he could come to CSL and you guys could work with him on all that. Okay, super. Good to know. Yeah. So I want to get back to this to Sylvia. I don't know if she's still there. I still see her there. Oh, Sylvia's dropped off. I was going to ask her about the rates in like the US fixed income rate. Right now, even with rates with inflation at 7.9%, the US is still paying below 1% on fixed income investing. So I was just trying to get this carry trade from her, just to be clear about the carry trade and what she thinks about it. So she's dropped off. I would have wished she comes back so that I can ask her that. So Sylvia, if you do come back, I have a question for you on the carry trade. Please try to hook back. If I see you, I will add you. Also, Benaju there. Benaju, if you see her trying to get back in, please add her. Maybe she just dropped off. I don't see her there. Okay, great. All right. So, are you back, Sylvia? Is that you?
No, that's not Sylvia.
Oh, Benju, how are you?
Okay, so
yeah, go for it.
I wanted to ask a question, and I think I have 2 questions in my DM as well.
Sure, go for it.
Okay, so just like you, we also plan for our kids in terms of course, pulling out funds for their education and for the future. But up until 2020, early 2021, we have been investing in the money market with the mutual funds in a competing brand, actually. So I don't want to mention the brand because we're dealing with another brand here. So, but by I think it was early 2021, we decided the returns on it wasn't very impressive anymore. So we decided to pull out most of the funds in it and invest somewhere else. So we actually more of crypto, in stable coins, and investing in coins like cash, trying to pull. So we do that monthly and then pulling out funds to pay for their education. the children's education. Now, I think for me, this is actually very interesting. Looking at the US long term, that's actually what I'm interested in. And I need to understand, okay, so the minimum is the minimum $1,000. I remember you had mentioned 1,000 naira for the other one.
I think it's minimum 1,000 units. So it's the units is the minimum. Yeah, and I think to get 1,000 units, you need give or take about say 1-2 plus change, but it's the units, right?
Okay, so
Yeah.
So what would be the equivalent in terms of minimum amount in dollars that you want to invest? And then that's one. So can you do monthly? Of course, you can do monthly top-ups. Since we're all salary earners, we have to do monthly top-up onto the account. So what would be the minimum that you can top up amount?
So I know Tony or anyone can take that. What's the minimum for dollars, and then can you do a top up into your account and all that? So yeah, Tony.
Hello? No, I'm here. Sorry.
Just yeah, there's a bit of a lag, yeah. So yeah. So
Can you hear me?
yes.
Yes, we can do you. Go ahead.
Okay. So the minimum is 1,000 units, but that is priced on a daily basis. So the price as at yesterday was 1.2183. And so what that means is that yesterday, if you wanted to invest, it would be 1,000 units times 1.2183.
Yeah.
Which will give you 1,200 and 12183.
Gotcha.
1.2183. So it's 1,213.
Gotcha.
Hello,
Tony.
did you guys hear me?
Yes, I heard you perfectly. I had a follow-up question. I think Obiano, did you have a follow-up? I want to ask Tony a question. Do you want to finish yours?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you.
Okay, yeah. So I was going to ask, does that mean we have to? How do we get the daily rate, or before you make an investment, or you just go ahead and just make the deposit and then you go ahead and calculate space for the number for that day?
So the price, the fund is priced daily, and if you check on our website, you would see the price as at that day. So if you check on our website now, you see the price as at Friday. Yesterday, but sometimes, we generally recommend you can just round up. Where you see 1.2183, you can round up to 1.22500, maybe round up to 1,300, just to round it up to the nearest 100. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Because additional top-ups also have to be in increments of 1,000 units as well. So it's just a note, yes. If you're going to be topping up, you do need to top up in that same increment. So just an FYI for investors.
Gotcha.
Okay, great. Great, thanks, Tony. Okay, so I have some questions in my DM. Somebody wanted to, I think I was going to share the link with him. He said he's a student and would love to invest and needed advice on how to go about it. So I wanted to send him the portal link. But you want to talk about that or share any tips for him?
That's a good segue, Tony. Tony, could you talk about this financial planning session for staff that FCMB Asset Management is basically organizing or wants to organize? I'm very interested, and I think a friend wants to understand what is this? Is it going to be a service that you provide? Is it per cost? How does it work? Could you just give me an overview of this financial planning session for staff?
Absolutely. FCMB Asset Management offers financial planning sessions for corporate, for staff of different organizations in different sectors, any sectors actually. Once you have 2 or more staff, we are willing to come. It's an absolutely free service, and what we do is we just come and speak to staff about investing. It's usually a more personal touch. You get to speak with employees of companies at different points. It could be that the company is organizing a town hall, or it's also a function of HR's welfare. It could be something targeted employee week, customer service week. It could be different things. A town hall where they just put staff and talk to them, and for this customer service week, we want to let our staff know how important they are to us, and we want to give them an opportunity to listen to investment advisors. Staff, it's really a function of staff welfare. We come, we talk to staff, and it's very personal. You can have one-on-one sessions, and we tell you about personal investing. We talk about financial literacy, we talk about financial planning, and then we segue into investment objectives and profiling. And then you can now start to pick, okay, this is what I want to do, these are my goals, and these are when I want to achieve them, and we advise how you can actually achieve your goals. So it's a wonderful service that we have. It's absolutely free. We do not charge for it. But we're willing to talk to groups of employees, at any point, where they have any kind of staff gathering or staff meeting. During COVID, we were able to organize some of it virtually. We had it on either Zoom or Microsoft Teams. We could do it virtually. But when you actually have an in-person session, individuals get to ask very specific questions, and they get answers to their questions right there and then. So it's an amazing service. We would love to offer it to any HR, staff welfare, staff officers, CEOs, anybody who is running a company and thinks it will be a good service for their staff. Yes, we would actually be willing and able to assist with those.
Fantastic. So I mean, that's wonderful. So if I have like I said, a session, people are going to be there, I can add value to my meetings, bring in an FCMB guy to talk about like what Sylvia have done, the economy, or talk about investment options. People get paid, maybe their bonus, then the bank comes and tells you how to invest that bonus free of charge. Because people charge for this service to talk to you about money, but you are willing to do that at no cost. So I think it's a big plus, and I should jump all over it. And I also wanted to ask you, Tony, this in terms of the corporate investing in these funds. As a corporate, could I like use this fund as I do imports? Just put the money in there and run as a real corporate account, lots of inflows, lots of outflows. Does this fund accommodate that? Can I use this as my quote unquote dollar account if I was a corporate doing a lot of import and export? Does that work for this as well? Corporate accounts and all that?
No, because if a corporate can invest, of course. However, you can't use it as a corporate account because there will be lots of ins and outs in a corporate account. Now, the minimum holding period, the minimum tenure, for the legacy USD bond fund is 6 months. So you actually cannot. You can. But if you take funds out before the 6 month minimum holding period, you will be charged a penalty. Gotcha. So if you're going to be having lots of debit to the investment account, it is counterproductive for the investor. You will just be paying early liquidation penalties, which doesn't help the investment account. So what it is it really is an investment account that investors, both individuals and corporates, will not willingly take funds out of the account before the minimum holding period elapses.
Yeah.
If you cannot help it yet, yes, but if you can help it, the penalty is quite steep for the dollar fund. And all our mutual funds have penalties for, redeeming before the minimum holding period elapses. All the mutual funds have it. So you just have to be very careful if you do need to make a withdrawal. It has to be a necessity and not just haphazard.
Gotcha. I mean? Yeah. And Tony, let's speak in detail about the diaspora in the next. Yes.
Do you mind if I ask Tony a question just before she moves?
Sure, go for it.
She was talking about just talking about the trend coming to have sessions for corporates and employees. So what about the individuals who would like to invest? Because someone is here in my DM asking that as an individual, should he just visit an FCMB branch, or how should he go about it? And then I think, let me just take the second question so that you go ahead and respond to everything. So somebody's asking, I said that we would like to know if we can buy USD with 7,000 naira, that he will be using it for saving future. So if you can go ahead invest with 7,000 naira. So you can go ahead or dollars. It's 7,000 naira. Oh, but he wants to buy USD. He wants to know if he can buy USD with 7,000 naira.
Okay, with the 7,000 naira, I'm not quite sure he'll be able to meet the minimum.
57,000
naira.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. No, I'm not quite sure he'll be able to purchase the minimum. But if he's able to get the minimum, then that's fine. Once he has the minimum investment amount, he can go ahead and make the investment. Do you understand? But 57,000 naira, what we generally advise is clients who are interested in US dollar investment options should send us a DM, and then we'll speak to them one-on-one and advise accordingly. Yes. And for dollars, the clients cannot invest naira. They have to bring their dollars. Yes. So however he's able to make the change, for his naira, and once he's able to meet that minimum of 1,000 units, of course, he's very much welcome to invest.
Okay, great. So the other question about individuals who like to invest, should they come into the branch, into any of the FCMB branches, or they have to do everything on now?
No, they are very welcome. We do have some customers who feel comfortable walking into a branch, especially if they are not in Lagos. If they're in Lagos, we're more than happy to have you visit us in Marina. We are located at 44 Marina Road in Lagos. But if you are not in Lagos or not close by, you can go to any of the branches and just tell them that you want to invest in an FCMB asset management product, called the Legacy USD Bond Fund. However, if you're fine going virtual, it's very easy, it's seamless. You can just do it via the portal. We can also have clients call us. We have a WhatsApp number. Clients can call us or WhatsApp us on our WhatsApp number. They can go to the website. We have many digital channels. They can go to our social media handles. We are, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Just send us a DM. Hi, I'd like to invest. Somebody will reach out and call you. If you just leave a number or an email address, we'll go ahead and reach out to you and take the process on from there. So, there are very, very many channels that an investor can actually reach us. The branch is one. Through many digital portals, that's another one. There are many ways. We're very much available, willing and available.
I like that.
Okay, thank you very much, Tony.
Yeah. So thank you so much. Thank you, LBL. Yeah. So I have a question for Ifeoma, right? I just want to talk about the diaspora in Nigeria. And to me, I just think it's a big, big, big opportunity here. Like I said, high return in America, even though we're hearing 7.9 inflation in the US, the returns in America are still not 1%. So if you put your money in a bank in America, you're not getting 1%, and inflation is 7.9%. So what's the catch, Ifeoma? If I'm a Nigerian in the US, I can invest in FCMB, the dollar fund, and make give or take from 4% to maybe 6%. But in the US, I can't even make 1%. So why can't I just do it? Why can't I just take my savings from America and bring it over to Nigeria and invest and make that spread? Is there anything stopping me? Or why aren't people seeing the opportunity? I'm just asking, maybe devil's advocate, is there anything I should worry about, like taxes? If there's none, why aren't a lot of people doing this? Don't they see the opportunity? That's just my question.
There is no
underlying flaws or any obstacle holding them. We have a lot of that frontline, like the service lines, just globally, anywhere you can think. So I think we have to. I think the onus must big one is that one be aware of change and take it. So there's really all you need is just do your complete documentation and KYC and just know once you want to invest, as long as you have it. If it's not USD, we can guide you through the process of converting it to USD and then just but like I said, with service and across continents and globe who are invested in that. And once you have a USD account, it doesn't even have to be a Nigerian USD bank account. You can actually once it can be any bank.
Really?
You can just include from there. Once it's the regulated USD bank account, you can then into the USD, biggest USD account invested on the app. So there are no clauses. I think I'm going to just sensitize.
Yeah, because it's a great deal. I mean, if you think about it, it's fixed income, dollar, really no risk, right? So, and the US folks won't know about FCM because they're in the US, right? They're Americans and all that, but I know about it. So I just wondered why a lot of people are like taking a mortgage, at 2% and bringing the money. It just seems to be like an easy carry trade, just like Sylvia talked about. Very, very easy carry trade. Not recommending anyone does. I'm just saying out loud that it looks like easy quote unquote money to make. Take dollars from a low interest regime over to a high interest regime environment and just make that spread. Yeah, but I've got Oyinane. Thanks for waiting, sir. If you can unmute, you can go ahead and ask your question, sir. Thank you so much.
Hey, hello. Sorry to interrupt, but I have a question for you. I just want to know that what proportion of Nigeria's GDP comes from manufacturing and services, like less than 20%,
Gotcha.
more than 50%.
Yeah. Services is very, very big in Nigeria. So services would include the telecom side. It's a big sector with agriculture, right? Manufacturing used to be down. Now it's about 15% and rising because we have the quote unquote Dangotes in that industrial sector. So manufacturing is rising. It was below one digit, it's now going nearer to the double digits, i.e., towards 20-ish%. But services is a very, very big sector in Nigeria. That's why we have telecom. That's why we have trade. And trade and telecoms are huge sectors, contributors to GDP. Oil is less than 15% of our GDP. So it's a diversified economy. The problem is that the incomes to the government are not diversified. They are about 80% just from crude oil. That's what the problem is.
Okay, and what impact has rapid industrialization had on Nigeria's industrial structure? Like there has been a significant increase in the portion of people working in agriculture and increase in the proportion of people working in the oil and gas industries and working in the manufacturing service sectors. So then what impact has rapid industrialization?
Well, rural urban shift is big in Nigeria, number one. A lot of fintech and services, Nollywood movies, also very, very big in Nigeria. So I say lots of good things, but also lots of bad things. So industrialization has brought cheaper imports. That has killed a few jobs in Nigeria. And it has also given us more opportunities to raise funds to do local, local industries that would then provide those jobs and also to export. So it's plus minus. It's plus minus. I think we do better with it. If we had more infrastructure or they were better invested, we could compete. The problem with Nigeria is a very, very high cost of doing business in Nigeria. It reduces the attractiveness of goods from Nigeria, and that's the big problem that we have. So thanks for the questions, right? So I don't know if you still want, if you're still open to speak.
Yes, I am.
All right, good.
Thank you very much for this opportunity.
You're very welcome, bro.
Yeah. So sorry, I have to take us back again. So if, for example, I have a USD account in Nigerian bank, at the moment, okay, and we all know that Nigerian banks currently are a bit short on USD cash, okay, because you can actually go there to withdraw your dollar from your dollar account, and they tell you they don't have USD.
Oh.
Okay, so now, of course, even with this new regime of CBN selling dollars to them, apparently they're not even selling as much as they used to.
Yeah.
So if, for example, I want to invest in the USD legacy fund,
yeah,
do they have any specific advice on how I can move my funds from another bank? Because we know that in Nigeria you cannot transfer interbank. USD, you can't transfer interbank. Okay? So are there any advice as to how we can move funds? Or because from what I'm seeing now, the only option I have is to change to Naira from where I am right now and buy dollars again and deposit again. And so do they have any advice? Maybe for example, if it's possible to maybe transfer into a card or something.
Yeah, good question. I think Ifoma and Antonio are here, but I know a guy on DM told me about Standard Chartered. But I'll let Ifoma and Antonio, or either of them, answer your question from that corporate side.
Okay.
Ifoma or Tony? Yeah, go for it. Thank you.
Some banks, it depends on the bank. Some banks actually let you transfer to an investment account. Some banks do. There's some who are very restrictive and say, no, you can only transfer from yourself to yourself. But there are some that allow the transfers to the investment account. Please send us a DM and we'll be happy to talk to you about, in detail, about what bank you're currently using to try to do this transfer. We'll offer some suggestions. But there are some banks. So please make sure you go to your bank and inquire directly. Let them know you want to try.
Sorry, it's actually a CBN policy. I know you cannot transfer from bank to bank in Nigeria.
No, that's not correct. You can actually transfer to an investment account. And, we do have customers that make the transfer to our Standard Chartered Bank account. So you actually can make that transfer.
So just send them a DM and then they can walk you through it, I guess. That's what just send me DM. Yeah, that works. Are you good?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So Tony, since I have you here, someone is asking about what are the fees, what are the costs. This is from Ebua. What are the annual fees or taxes, and what do they compare to? I'm talking about the net gain. Are there any fees per se on these funds, and if there are, what are they?
Okay, that is a good question actually. Now, the return that I mentioned for last year is net of all fees and any charges.
Oh, net.
Yes, that is a net return. So with mutual funds, the fund manager actually charges an annual management fee. Okay, and so once that is taken off, what is left is actually what is offered to the client. So the rates that we offer our clients are net rate, net of any charges and fees. However, just so you know, for informational purposes, the management fee, varies for each mutual fund. But all rates that we advise our clients are always net rate, net of any charges or fees. So, there's no additional cost to you investing in a mutual fund,
Great. So that was net. So if that is net, that is perfect. So Ebua, I think you're listening. She's saying those quotes, those numbers she gave were net. And of course, those fees could change. And I know it's usually a graduated scale and all that. So again, I'm going to send you the DM link send them a DM and ask the question specifically. I'm sure someone can come back to you real quick, or send it to me and I'll send it to them and we'll make sure we get an answer for you. We're almost getting to the tail end of this, right? Tony, Ifoma, Sylvia, thank you all for just staying here for about 2 hours with us today. I always enjoy having you guys over, right? And Ola also enjoys having you guys over. Just I should remind Auntie Tony about her Harvard. So I'm just reminding Auntie Tony, she says I should call you Auntie Tony, about her Harvard. So do you guys have any, like, just since we're on that topic, is there any educational plan, any trustee? Do you guys do that? If I want to set up something like to invest, life insurance, educational plan, to educate my child abroad and all that, do you guys have anything like that, or can you refer me? Is something you guys do within the group and all that?
Yes, we don't have a life insurance, but we have a particular education plan that we can offer our client.
Oh, really?
And that's something we can discuss further. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, if you have it and you want to send, I can always share it. I do get a lot of inquiries. People want to like set up not a will, but like a trust and say if anything happens, my kid gets educated, all that stuff. That's also something I hear lots of people ask and all. So I think it's going to be something that we could talk about. I'm sure you guys talk about it in your financial planning sessions, but just giving you insight, that's what people want to talk about. Okay, so
yes, that's important, very important.
Yeah, exactly. It's
about interest as well.
yeah, exactly. So guys, we just have about 5 minutes left then before we can start to wind down. I have one or two DMs here which I can take, and then we can go from there. Let me just see. These are the same questions. Okay, so he's asking about ETFs. So he's asking, are these ETFs or are they mutual funds? So I can answer that real quick. These are mutual funds. They are not ETFs. So they're like unit trust schemes, i.e. mutual funds. They're not exchange traded funds. And of course, the difference is just the ETFs allow you to trade on the exchange during trading hours. So exchange traded, you can trade during the trading hours. But unit trust and mutual funds, normally you'd have to wait till the day is closed, get the net asset value for that day, then place your trades for the next day. They are almost similar, but just not too far apart. They're like cousins, right? Not too far apart. So just so you know. So it's not an ETF, it's mostly mutual fund. Then I think it's good for Ifoma. So Ifoma, someone's asking, do you have any products specifically for women? Is there anything that you have for women? Are you guys thinking about it? Something that's like a women teen fund and all that. Someone's asking that question. I don't know why per se, but she's asking if you guys have any women teen fund that you offer within the group.
Okay, I'll take that down. It's something, and there's something right now. I don't have anything that women before. Nothing. Open to everyone to speak to you, to know what best they lost. But right now, we were in just at all.
If you're breaking up a bit, I didn't want to get what you're saying.
Oh.
It sounds important,
okay.
Please.
Okay, does it? Yes,
yes, I can.
Okay, I said currently we have none, but it's in the works. We're looking forward to adding in nearest future infrastructure fund, maybe a women's team fund, allow all those mutual funds that we want to add to our portfolio in the nearest future. But right now, all our funds are open to everyone. But we need to speak to the person to understand what their needs are and data and advise better. But right now we have no.
Okay, this is Agnes 51. Agnes 51, I think you heard her answer. I've sent her the link and I've sent her all the FCMB Twitter links and all that, and the phone number. Someone's asking me as well about the contact details. I'm going to share that right away. There's a WhatsApp number. It is 091 545 986. That's 091-545-986. And I just shared that number with the link and all that on the Twitter. So you can just go over there and grab it. That's a good way to reach them. Phone number, WhatsApp, the link to open the account with all the requirements that you need. And you should then be on your way. Remember, guys, all we do here is to give you the tools to become a better investor. And I know we were talking about investing, and we were able to bring this team in to talk to us for close to 2 hours. And I thank you guys for all the questions. Shows a lot of interest, not just in this, but just to get ourselves prepared for what may come. And I think we had the macro talk about inflation in Nigeria going to rise. So we have to get prepared for that. Inflation is coming. So let's hedge and get prepared for that. Good evening, Kalu. I'm actually online. I have a question. I want to know if someone can actually invest with crypto. No, not to the Nigerian banks, because the Nigerian banks do not do cryptocurrencies. It's a thing. So Nigerian banks don't, right? So that's a simple answer to your question. So I would say convert your crypto to US dollars, then just approach them. If it's dollars, then you can do the USD fund. If it is Naira, you can do the money market or the Naira debt fund. So Dre, Bente, that's the answer really I have for you. So Tony, I'm just got enough time for you and Informa, and if Sylvia is back, we can take vote of time. Just Informa and Tony, please come off and just. Yeah, go for it, Obi.
Okay, so Tony, if I need to liquidate, am I getting my funds back in dollars, or you give it to me in naira?
You will get your funds back in dollars, not naira. So there's no currency here. As you're investing in dollars, you're getting your dollars right back.
That's a good question. So I get my dividends in dollars. I get my principal back in dollars.
Exactly.
Good job.
Okay, so I think a follow-up question will be, do I need to have an account with FCMB, because will that be given to me cash as opposed to paying into an account?
No, we'll pay it into a DOM account as long as it is in your name or in the name you did the investment in. So for instance, it can be paid to any bank, both locally and offshore. If you even wanted the money, let's say in your UK account or US account, as long as it is in the same name that the investment was opened here. Exactly. You will get the funds. It will not be a cash payment. It has to be an electronic transfer.
Very important, yeah. Very important. All right, Tony, since you're there, Tony, we've got about 2 minutes. I would like to just say thanks. I'm thanking you personally and on behalf of the community.
I think there's someone on my other speak. If he has a question.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Go for it. That's going to be the last one, and then we'll take it from there. I can.
If you can hear me, just unmute your mic and take the question.
What's the name, please? Olarele. Okay, I see him. Olarele, you have the floor.
Okay, I think he's not. So this virus is not happy.
He can always send us a DM.
Yeah, Larry, I'm just going to send him you can send me a DM or send him a DM directly. I'm going to send him the link and then he can just contact you. I'm sending him the DM right now. So Tony, go for it. Tony, Danny Forma, let's just thank you guys for coming in. Do you have any closing words and all?
Okay, thank you so much everyone for spending your Saturday evening with us. The best time to start your investment journey is now.
Great.
We're in very, very interesting economic times. So the best advice, that I can always give anyone is, just make sure you're setting aside some funds for investment, both in Naira, because that is what we're earning in Nigeria, and in USD to serve as a hedge for your investment portfolio. We're always happy to answer any questions, or concerns you might have concerning any kind of investment. Thank you so much again, and I look forward to hearing from all of you very soon.
Good job. All right. Thank you, Tony. Ifoma? Let me see. Hi, Ifoma.
Hello.
Oh, hi.
Can you please take one last question?
Sure, go for it. You're going to be the very last.
Okay. I just want to why is manufacturing Nigeria's fastest growing sector?
Oh, I just
It has a large, cheap labor force and a huge market, and increased demand for agricultural produce.
Not really. I just answered you. So it's not manufacturing, it's more services as the fastest growing, right? Manufacturing in Nigeria is suffering from poor infrastructure, especially power. So we have the cheaper labor, like you said, but the power supply is not, should we say, consistent. So that we suffer from that. That has reduced the contribution of manufacturing to the GDP growth.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you.
You're very welcome. I sent you a DM, so you can just, yeah. I'll send you the Nigerian GDP via the DM, so you get it. All right, guys. Thank you, everyone. All it falls on me is to say thank you to FCMB for spending their time with us, like you said today. Thank you, Former. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Sylvia, for coming to talk to us about your various products. We've heard about the money market in Naira. We've heard about the debt fund in Naira. We've heard about the USD in US dollars, and also about the equity fund where we can invest in equities and shares, right? We've also heard about that FCMB is willing to come and talk to groups of staff, talking about financial education and planning, how they can tap into the opportunities and also hedge against the risk. So it's been a fun-filled but fact-filled and very educational session. Thank you for everyone that has stayed here. Isaac, Olumide, Patricia, Nigerian Dada, Omojo, all of you, you guys are the best, right? For just staying every week. John Otu, Tia Ben, Zeus, Olumuyiwa. I love you guys. Appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. And we'll be here next week. Next week, I'm trying to bring in a guy from real estate to talk to us about real estate. He's very big in that sector. How can we learn from him? So that's the plan for next week. So I'll see you guys. Thank you so much, Tony, Ifoma, Sylvia, Obiagili. You want to say hi and bye to everyone, and then we can shut down the spaces and everyone can go have a good time on Saturday.
Thank you very much. Just like what I said, and most important thing I would point out something like so over 10 years for seeing money in my bank account. When I need money, I can back the rest. But
yeah,
that they do this from the fund, the money, when they have bank account, they gradually the business value got there. So as much as that's how you can put your money into something, you will no matter how the little percent in turn is to help you at least show you from the inflation that we are facing. So guys, it was nice hanging out with them.
All right.
Start this in 5 million and do enjoy the rest of the week.
Thank you so much, Ifoma. I appreciate you. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Do enjoy your day, and I'll see you guys next week by 8 p.m. Take care. Bye.